Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. Tom will not be with us again this morning, but we're still set to have a great stream. Disney is trending up this morning, which is awesome to see. But thank you guys so much for joining. Welcome Hunter, Trading Desk, Corbin, Raphael, Alex, Vicky, Jamie, David, and Slick. Thank you guys so much for joining this morning. As always, if you guys are watching any specific stocks, let me know. Slick, Tom will be back in a couple days. He's enjoying himself in Florida, so it's nice to have a little vacation here and there. But yeah, we're set to have a good day in the market. Welcome, Sean. Thanks for joining. Really, what I'm looking at this morning is Disney. We've been holding this one for a little bit now, and it's looking pretty good. We have that resistance at $186.29, and it's trending up pretty well in pre-market. Nice volume overall. It is right at that resistance at like 185.50 from yesterday, but so far it looks pretty good. Also, if we look at AMC, they're doing pretty good in like after hours and pre-market. I know that they got demolished over like the past week or so they're starting to pop back up a little bit. Resistance at $40. Welcome, Mike. Thanks for joining. But yeah, that's the main thing I'm watching. If we look at the SPY, it's had such a wild ride. It kind of like tanked off partially yesterday, and it came back up in pre-market. So either way, we're set to finish or start the Friday green, which is awesome to see. If we take a look at some of these tech stocks like Nvidia, it is recovering up in pre-market after a huge fall yesterday. For this one, I'd really watch this support at like 755. If it breaks that, that'll be pretty bad for Nvidia. But yeah, it looks like Corbin saying AMC, Apple, and GLD, please. All right, so AMC, yeah, I mean, they're just kind of like popping back up from the huge sell-off they had so far this week. The main resistance I'm watching is $40, but they're definitely not looking the best right now. Support would be right at, you could say like 36 or so, maybe like 37. Yeah, you could say 37 would be a closer support. Then we have, let's see. Corbin also asking about Apple. It is making lower highs, Corbin. I know you were playing puts on them. I don't know if you still are, but that's a good sign. They are making lower highs. Tech stocks are like way overbought anyway, so it should be solid. And then GLD. This one's been doing pretty well. It's down a little bit this morning, but over the past week, it's been uptrending, and it's not a bad setup at all. I was considering swinging this one, but haven't pulled the trigger just yet. Welcome, Alex. Thanks for joining today's stream. Let's take a look on how everything's going. So Disney's up around 0.5%. UPST is trending up pretty nicely. Looks good. GE slightly in the green. Zoom a little bit. Target's unchanged. But yeah, I mean, the main one I'm watching so far is Disney. Looks pretty good overall. Like I said, it's up around 0.5%. The main resistance we have to watch out for is 186.29. If it breaks that, that should be golden. Looking on the daily, I mean, this thing has a lot of room to go up, you know, like it's a very solid company, great catalyst to raising the prices. They got upgraded, and it's a solid company, and I'm very excited to see how this play progresses over the next couple months, you know, but at the same time, remember, it is more of a value stock, so it's not going to move like the same way Apple, Nvidia, or Tesla would, but either way, it looks great. Let's see. We have Alex saying, yesterday after hours, news for mRNA will join the S&P 500 next week. Let's see. I never noticed this stock, but I should have an interest. Yeah, this thing's exploding, like literally exploding. It's up around 5.5%. So it's great to hear that. They've been doing a great job so far in 2020 and 2021. Just one thing to know, I know some institution did like a detailed study on the performance of new stocks that are added to the S&P 500. And I believe, like I could be wrong, but I believe the study actually showed that stocks tend to fall like after the coming months after they're announced to join the S&P 500. I know it sounds super weird, but I think that's just like a weird statistic. So I figured I'd throw it out there. Anyways, they are pretty overbought. So I'm actually looking at some call credits on this one. It has been exploding though. Then we have Mike saying, I'm going to start a position in Penn today. I think that'd be a good idea. I still think we're a little bit early, but I like the idea a lot. I really wouldn't be surprised if we touch like 65 or even 60. Nobody can catch the bottom, but Mike, I think that's a pretty smart idea, and I'll probably join you sometime soon. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Solid company. Then we have Alex saying, Fubo, Neo, plug, please. Let's take a look. FUBO. Yeah, this one's looking pretty good overall. It's up 7%. I like the setup for like a short-term swing or like a day trade to the upside. Looking at Neo, this one's also a pretty similar setup as Fubo, so same thing there. And then Plug, I mean, it doesn't have as much momentum right now. If we look intraday, it's kind of selling off. It's been getting rejected and making lower highs, which isn't good to see. So maybe this one for like a cash secured put. IV's decent, so you can get a decent amount of premium if you sell a couple put options. So yeah, and then we have Ed saying, good morning. I have a debit spread out of the money that expires today. UWMC. Shall I let it expire, or how do I close it? I don't want assignment. So if you have a debit, well, what strikes are they? Let me know what strikes they are, and I can give you a more detailed answer. He said, a debit spread out of the money that expires today. Shall I let it expire, or how do I close it? Yeah, let me know the strikes. Let me know which option you bought, what option you sold, whether it's a call or put. The more details, the better. But looking at some like the top gainers and losers today, it looks like Square is on the top gainers list, up around 2.6%. Looks pretty good. Disney selling off a little bit. They're taking off a good amount. Disney is, yeah, I mean, they're almost back to unchanged, which sucks to see, but that's the market. Let's see. So Ed said UWMC 20 and 15. And if it's out of the money, oh, wow. I mean, if it's a debit spread, there's really nothing you can do at this point. I mean, those options are worthless. You don't have to do anything. You sold the 20 and bought the 15. Yeah, you don't have to do anything. Honestly, I don't even think you really can do anything because the options aren't worth anything. Like if we go to July 16th, yeah, I mean, you literally can't even do anything. The options are illiquid. In the bid and ask, you can't even get filled. So you don't have to do anything. You can just let it expire and it'll close itself. So yeah, that is definitely a losing play, unfortunately. Let's see. Enphase is popping up, or it's trying to pop up, I should say. Airlines doing decent. Penn doing decent. Redfin. Tesla up around 1% or so. Zoom's pulling back a little bit. I actually want to do some cash secured puts on this one pretty soon. It's at like the $358 level right now. I might sell some puts on it for next week, maybe at the like $330 level. Yeah, I'd like to grab some shares at that point, or even if I went a little bit more time and maybe went to the 320 level to get like $100. It's not a bad idea. I might do that soon. So yeah, guys, let me know what stocks you guys are watching. I'll definitely cover them on the stream. Looks like right now there's not a ton of momentum. Of course, we have Square popping up, which is good to see. The SPY isn't doing the best so far this morning. It's pulling back a little bit at open. But yeah. So then we have Johnny Leverage saying, do you think NVIDIA will keep running on Monday before the split on Tuesday? I am wondering if I should sell my put credit spread for August 20th expiration 730/710. Down right now around 200. I mean, I personally think over like the next 2 weeks, NVIDIA is going to pull back a lot. It's just my opinion, and that's exactly what happened with Tesla and Apple when they split. And so far, NVIDIA, Apple, and Tesla have had an extremely similar reaction to their split news. So personally, like from right now for like the next like 1 to 2 weeks, I definitely see NVIDIA pulling back. So I mean, hopefully like NVIDIA has like a nice bounce up and the premiums die on those puts, and hopefully you can get out. But it's definitely looking pretty rough. We're right back down to NVIDIA at that 755 support, and it's looking bad. You know, I mean, this price action is not good at all. Lots of sellers coming in, increased volume. Yeah, I don't know, it looks pretty rough. Then we have Jorge saying, thoughts on Z at support. Let's take a look. Z, yeah, it's getting very close to that 110 support. I also think we're early on this one too. I wouldn't be surprised if this one just like faded around for a couple months. The IV is just like, it's not really doing much, and I think the best way to go about playing this one is to sell puts on it. In the worst case scenario, you'll have to buy shares at a low price, and the premiums aren't bad either. Like right now it's at like 105, and like let's say it like falls down to like 103 or 102 or even 100, you can just sell like let's say the July 30th call option. You can sell like the 95 strike put and get paid like probably like $80 or so. So I think that would be the best way to play it. In the worst case scenario, you're getting at a very nice discount. Then we have Hunter saying growth stocks hanging on by a thread right now. I know, man, it's been brutal. You look at, let's say, Palantir getting smacked, DraftKings smacked. Just look at the ARK ETF. These things have been getting smacked, or this has been getting smacked over like the past 2 weeks. Definitely looking pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's just the market. They had a crazy recovery. Literally, or at least the ARK ETF had a 30% recovery from the lows over the course of like 1.5 months. So I guess that's just how the market is. Overall, they're still up around 15% from lows back in May. And, they overall, they are still green. So I guess that is a good sign. We have Matthew asking about the NASDAQ. All right, the NASDAQ. A lot of the high growth stocks are in the NASDAQ, and like a lot of stock here. Let me pull this up. If I go to MarketWatch, visualize NASDAQ, the larger the boxes represents the greater the influence on the NASDAQ overall. For example, Amazon has a huge box. That means it has huge influence on the NASDAQ. Apple, Microsoft, Google, Nvidia are relatively large boxes. That means that they have a big influence on the NASDAQ. Where if you look at a box like, I don't know, let's say we do like VRTX. That box is really small, so it shows that it has a small influence on the NASDAQ. And what I'm trying to say by showing this is when we look at the stocks that have the largest influence on the NASDAQ, some of these are the most overextended stocks in the market. Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia. Look at this. Let me go to a daily. Amazon, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia. These are some of the most overbought stocks on the market. So personally, I really would not be surprised if we saw the NASDAQ pull back a little bit. There's a lot of crazy stocks that have just been exploding, and they're definitely due to pull back. And then we have, let's see, Mike saying, when do you think this crash that everyone is talking about going to start? Which crash? I mean, people are always saying that there's going to be a crash. Analysts, you can find basically an analyst every week saying there's going to be a crash. Really, a lot of times crashes happen when black swan events happen, which is things that are completely unpredictable. No one knew everything that was going to happen with COVID would just like happen. Like, for example, let me pull this up to give you a perfect example. Let me go back 2 years. All right, 2 years. Perfect. So we can see back in, let's say, February of 2020, right? The market's at all-time highs. Everything's going great. Implied volatility is super low. Tech stocks are exploding. Great economic numbers are being posted. And then out of nowhere, we see a 30% drawdown on the market overall. In order to see crashes like that, you need like world-changing catalysts, like crazy, crazy events. And I would say 99% of the time, those events are unpredictable. Now, with that being said, there can be a nice pullback, which I wouldn't be surprised, but at the same time, no one can time that perfectly. So, really, I mean, that's the, Mike, that's like the $100 million question right there. So no one can time it perfectly. I think the best way to go about that information is to have hedges in place. Don't be over leveraged. There's people that I know that are definitely loading up on, out of the money Apple leaps right now, while Apple is exploding past all-time highs and IV's high. Like, it's not the best decision to make. So I think the best thing to do is just don't be over leveraged and realize where the market is at right now. Hunter said, as soon as people stop talking about it, most likely, to Mike. Yeah, it's going to catch us off guard. Great question, though, Mike. I'm sure a lot of other people had it, and thanks for definitely bringing that up. Jorge said, KO trying to break above $56.50, earnings in 5 days. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely popping up. It looks like it broke that level. It's doing pretty good right now. I like the setup. And Jorge, I'm extremely glad you brought this up, because while everyone is looking at these tech stocks right now, like Apple, Nvidia, QQQ, etc., we might start to see a rotation into other aspects of the market, into value stocks. You could say like Disney, KO, PG. It's already running up. Maybe Cat. So yeah, I'm very, very glad you brought that up, Jorge. Looks like value stocks are already running, which is very good to see. PG doesn't look bad at all. So yeah, I'm very glad you brought that up. Some other stocks I were looking at were like the airlines and cruise lines, like CCL doesn't look bad, and then of course Penn, PENN, and then maybe even Boeing. Boeing's not looking bad either. Then we have Tom joining saying Yellen said inflation is going to get back the next few months. Hopefully it stays transitory. Yeah, I know. Yellen's going crazy. Like she was agreeing with Powell like a couple days ago. And now she's saying that we're set to see rapid inflation over the next couple months. You know, it's pretty crazy. Definitely really crazy. But I don't think anything will beat that time where Yellen made those crazy comments in regards to inflation and bonds and that stuff. The market's tanked off of it, and then she just took the comments back in after hours, and the market popped back up. Like that was ridiculous, but it is what it is. Then we have Raphael saying CCL leaps February 22, $22.50 calls. So let's see. I like it. Yeah, looks good. I actually really like that, Raphael. Let's see. Said the $22.50 calls for February of 2022. Looks really solid, actually. Yeah, I like it a lot. I actually might join you in this play sometime soon. Looks good. I mean, it's pulling back quite a bit right now. No one can catch the bottom. We might see it, sell off a little bit more, but I think this is a really solid play. Of course, it's risky because it's with cruise lines, but I actually probably will join you in this play sometime soon. Then we have Sean saying market has a very short memory. What inflation are you talking about? Yeah. Then we have Chris saying, good morning. So what do you think about Starbucks today? Thanks for joining the stream, Chris. But if we take a look at Starbucks, it is doing very well today. It's up around 1%, getting very close to those all-time highs again. Let me look at the intraday data. It has a pretty strong opening. There is resistance at like $120.83, but I mean, it looks really good, and we're seeing a lot of money, a lot of good momentum flowing into value stocks. Like if we just look at some of these stocks like KO, PG, what was the other one? PEP, you can say. Like they're running pretty well. So I like the setup. I definitely like the setup. Starbucks has been running, and it looks pretty good. So yeah, let's see what's going on with other stocks right now. Home Depot's running pretty well. Another value type play to look at. NEM, this one's tanking off. LOW, yeah, Home Depot and Lowe's run in a pretty similar way. How's Pins doing? Pins is down around 0.7%. I like this one to the downside. They have been having some bad momentum, and I just like the setup to the downside. Nvidia broke below that 755 support, and it's tanking. MGM is holding its ground a little bit, but yeah, I like Pins to the downside. Yeah, not bad at all. Starbucks doing well. TAL, this one's tanking a lot. Oh, how's Upwork doing? I was looking at this one for short puts. Yeah, this one has been selling off. I definitely want to sell some puts on this one. I'd like to ideally get some shares, maybe around like $40, maybe $35, something like that. Yeah, if we continue to see a sell-off, I will love to sell puts on this. Premiums look pretty decent too. DAL's doing well. What else? Disney is pulling back. They went from green to red, which sucks. GE's in the green. UPST in the red. Target is unchanged, which is interesting. What I do like about Target is if we look at like Target intraday, basically for the past couple months, this thing has just been exploding nonstop every single morning. And like, let's say we look on, I don't know, July 9th, like it just explodes up at open. July 12th explodes up at open. Every single day, for the most part, it explodes up at open. But the past two mornings have been a little bit tough, like there's not as many buyers flowing in. And I think this will ultimately be good for the Target pullback. I like the setup for a pullback, but I don't expect it to just like crash and burn. They're more of a slow-moving stock, and I think the setup looks pretty solid for a pullback, and it's definitely on my radar. But yeah, looks good. What else do we have moving? We have people talking about Fubo calls. People talking about BABA. Yeah, Baba's taking off a little bit. Baidu, let's see, PDD, not bad. Market looking scary. Whatever. Let's see. Okay, I see. So Spy, yeah, I mean, it's not really doing anything much this morning. Looks like it's just pulling back a little bit. The main plays I'm looking at are, of course, Disney plays, Target to the downside, and then also maybe pins to the downside. This one doesn't look bad. But yeah, if you guys are watching any stocks, let me know, guys. There's not too much going on in the market right now. Airlines are up a little bit. Baidu is tanking off. What is it? Spy tanking off a little bit. Redfin not really doing anything. Hunter saying ZOM is falling. Yeah, this one's not looking good at all. Down around 0.7%. Looks pretty rough, Hunter. What other supports do you see? Because I see a little bit of support at like 56. If I do a drawing right here, we have a little bit of support at 56, but then a larger support at like 54.50. And then, of course, that support at 58. So this one doesn't look bad to the downside either. It has been selling off. Let me see if there's any specific news with this one. No, I don't see anything too major with this. How's oil /CL? Yeah, it's been pulling back a little bit. Nothing crazy. Yeah, I mean, the main things from this morning just are, I mean, Disney pulling back, I guess you could say, Target, and then, what do you call it? Nvidia tanking. Not looking good. 57.79 and 54.50 for ZOM. Yeah, I mean, this one doesn't look bad. How's CVX doing? This one's pulling back too, and I feel like there's a larger, more significant support on CVX at like $100. That's a psychological level, but at the same time, it bounced off this one many times in the past, and yeah, I mean, it's retesting it right now, so this one might be a good setup to the downside. I wonder how the puts are priced on these. Let's see, if like for August, yeah, I mean, the puts aren't bad. Let me plot this real quick. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. Looks pretty good, actually. Looks pretty good. mRNA is exploding still. Yeah, I mean, this one is just exploding. I can't believe this thing. Let me see what the short interest is. Let's see. Short interest, mRNA. Let's see. Yeah, the short interest is only like 3.5%. So yeah, we have Mike saying thanks and have a great weekend. Happy trading. Thanks for joining, Mike. So yeah, I mean, Home Depot's popping up. This one doesn't look too bad. Let's see. Home Depot with the next resistance we have. Let me pull up an hourly. Next resistance for Home Depot looks to be at 330 level. It bounced off that level many times in the past, or a couple times, I should say, and it'll definitely be a strong resistance heading over like the next couple weeks or so. Lows will move very similar to Home Depot. So if you guys, like, let's say you don't like the options pricing on Home Depot, Lowe's, for the most part, is pretty similar. As we can see, the charts look very similar. What else do we have? UPWK still selling off. Yeah, I'm definitely going to sell some puts on this one sometime soon, as long as the pricing's there. Let's say we go to like the August expiration. I'd probably want to sell like the 37.50 puts. You can get like close to $100 for them, and they're about $10 out of the money, because I like the stock for the long term. Support right at like 38, you can say. So yeah, this one's definitely on my radar. And what I like about this one is you don't need to have like a crazy amount of money to sell puts on it. The stock right now is at $48, and if you sell like the 35 strike put, you only need 3,500, and you can get a pretty nice return on it. The only downside is that you would have to hold these puts for, I mean, you wouldn't have to hold them for 35 days, but if you wanted max profit, you'd have to hold them for 35 days. But, you know, let's say you sell the puts for the 35 strike and you get like $60, you can just hold them, and once the puts fall in value, you can just buy them back at a lower price. So it's definitely a setup I'm looking at. Did UPWK fall on no news? I mean, that's what it seems like. I was scanning the market for some news on it, and nothing came out. And Hunter, like, it had a pretty tough fall. Like, it's not like it was like a gradual sell-off. Like, if we go intraday, this thing just tanks. Let me go to a 5-day, 5-minute. A ton of sellers just bombarded this thing on July 14th, and ever since, like, anytime it tries to pop up, just a ton of sellers come in and bring it right back down. So definitely looking pretty bad. It's getting close to that support at, let's say, 47.50. Let's see. Oops. So yeah. Then we have Hunter saying theta curve starts to get exponential around 30 days expiration too, for sure. So like when you sell those puts with 30 days left, like, you know, the stock would really, really have to move down in order for you to lose on those puts. And even if you do, quote unquote, lose, you're just gonna buy shares at a pretty low price. mRNA, I'm so surprised by this one. It just keeps going up almost 9% so far. All-time high right around 285. And we have Hunter saying X is falling. Yeah, this one isn't looking good either. Support at 22. After that, there is support at like 21. I'll draw some lines on it real quick. Said 22, and then again at what was it, 21, and then even again at 20. Yeah, this one's a pretty decent play for a potential short. Not bad at all. Hunter saying yeah, X falling. Let's see. Calls are looking toast. Let's see. Fubo early. How's the market doing? SPY. Yeah, I mean, it's looking a little rough this morning. Definitely a lot of selling pressure coming in. Apple struggling. It's not doing too bad, actually. Nvidia is definitely struggling, though. Down around 1.3%. Pins is trying to hold its ground. What else is moving? GS. GS is struggling. X is struggling. QQQ. So, yeah. Just a lot of selling pressure today. Let's see. Disney went from green to red in a pretty big way. Let's take a look. Yeah, they were opening it up pretty good this morning, and they just hit a good amount of sellers coming in, which I guess, you know, that's just the market. UPST is unchanged. GE is holding its ground. Target is trying to fall a little bit. If we go to Target, we can go to, let's say, the 252 support. If it breaks below that, it should be pretty solid. After the 252 support, we have support at, you say, 251. So let me just draw these supports because I would do them later anyways. So let me do that. And then 251. See, I'm watching 252 and 251 for support on Target. Resistance right at 254.50, you can say. So yeah, and then let me do that. Slick saying I need QQQ to fall. I feel it, Slick. You know, it's having a lot of its most significant players starting to fall off. If we look at this tab right here, some of the biggest ones are going red. Nvidia down around 1%. Microsoft and Apple are slightly in the green. Same thing with Google, but Amazon is in the red, as well as Facebook and even Tesla. So I really wouldn't be surprised. The biggest thing, though, is the options pricing and the theta decay. Because, you know, for example, let's say you get some QQQ puts for next week right now, and let's say you get the, let's say we go to like the July 23rd expiration, and let's say you go to the like 357 puts for $200. You know, the QQQ can fall and you can still lose money. So the biggest thing is getting time. I would definitely recommend like a put debit spread, call credit spread, or even if you don't, just make sure you get some time, because it sucks when you predict the direction correctly and lose just because of time decay. What else do we have? Let's see. Corbin saying, how do you feel about GLD today into Monday? If SPY falls, it could rise, plus talks of inflation. Let's take a look. I mean, GLD, it has around a 0.6 correlation to the market. So, you know, I mean, just historically speaking, it's not always the best hedge, like against the market itself. If there's like any big inflation talk, that can definitely help GLD. But if you're just like trying to buy it just to hedge against the market, it wouldn't be the best hedge because the correlation is around 0.6. So I think there are better opportunities out there if you're specifically looking to hedge, like VXX or like SPXX or even like SPY puts. But yeah, overall, I like the setup, Corbin. But like over the next couple weeks, GLD is one of those ETFs where it has crazy swings overnight. And like a nice example I like to give is like it'll like be closing green, like strong on one day, and the next morning it'll gap down, and the morning after that it'll gap up, and then it's just crazy, you know. So for GLD, what Tom and I have found is it's best to play this over the course of like longer time frames, at least a couple weeks. Then we have Trading Desk asking about Palantir. I love this one for the long term, but it's been really struggling over the past couple weeks. I think the best way to go with this one is to sell puts, buy leaps that are close to the money with time, or just average into shares. Jorge saying MU on support and also on the 200 EMA. Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. 75 support. Let me draw out the support resistance the support line right here. Looks good. I like the setup for a potential bounce off support, but if it cannot hold that $75 level, it could also just be a good opportunity to play some puts on it. And then we have Johnny Leverage saying, took an L on NVIDIA, eyeing Square for calls 1 to 2 months out. Yeah, it's pulling back pretty hard right now. And then Square 1 to 2 months out. I hope it pops up for you. The only thing I'm worried about is, you know, let's say the market pulls back with NVIDIA, Apple, and Amazon all at crazy levels. You know, that can definitely influence the Square position. So either way, Square is a solid company. And the good news is that it doesn't really have too much of a correlation to the SPY. It's only around 0.2. So that is good. So like theoretically we could see the SPY and tech stocks pull back and then Square explode up, which is good to see. And what's also good is that you're getting time. I know a lot of people just like to mess around with weekly options or options expire in 2 weeks, and it just leads to disaster. So it's good to hear that you have some time. Square options aren't bad. You know, they're relatively well priced, and Square is definitely a mover. How's NVIDIA doing? Let's see. Yeah, NVIDIA's below that 750 support. Looks pretty bad. It's trying to hold its ground right now. Some volume stepping in, but it looks pretty dangerous. Let's take a look at the SPY. I mean, SPY is at support right now at 435, resistance at 436. If it breaks below the support at 435, the next major support I see is like 434, which is bounced off of a lot of times, like just over like the past couple days. Like yesterday, it bounced off at 1, 2, you could say 3, 4, 5, even 6 times. You could say like 6 to 7 times it bounced off of it. So if we do break below 435, definitely watch that 434 level. It's been a pretty strong level in the past. ORCL is trending up. Yeah, it's doing pretty well. mRNA is still going. Wow. I mean, this is crazy. Yeah, mRNA is going crazy. Up over 10%. Resistance at 286. It's breaking all-time highs right now. IV is sky high. This thing is exploding. Definitely be very careful if you plan on holding the calls for this one. Day trades, it could be awesome, though. CRM is doing pretty well, too. They're bouncing off support. Facebook is falling. Home Depot is holding its ground. It's looking pretty good. Pepsi's not doing bad. Yeah, this one's rallying pretty well. What else? And yeah, that's mainly it. NEO is tanking off. Yeah, I mean, it looks like we have a relatively boring open so far. Just the main things I've seen are NVIDIA pulling back, and just a little bit more of like a negative sentiment in the market overall. Hunter says, this market is stinky. How's AMC? AMC's pulling back down, or they're up around 1%, but pretty crappy open. Resistance right at $38. Support at, there's a lot of supports on this one. There's the major one I'd say at 34, that $34 area. David saying, good morning, everyone. Any thoughts on SNDL? SNDL and these MJ stocks have been going crazy. Every time it looks like they're trying to break out, they just get rejected really hard. It's not bad at all. It's just definitely a risky play. You are getting in on at lows or close to lows. But I think patience will definitely be a huge thing with this one. If you're trying to play for the short term, it'll be pretty tough because at least like over the past couple months, every time it's tried to run up, it just got rejected so hard. And the same thing goes for like Tilray and CGC. If we just look at these charts, it's been brutal. Yeah, CGC's fallen more. It's definitely been a pretty rough couple months to say the least. Boeing is trying to hold its ground. This one doesn't look too bad for like maybe a dip buy, but again, kind of like with like Penn and like the airlines and cruise lines, I think we're just a little bit early with it. FCX, what is this? FCX down around 2%. How's PINS? PINS? Yeah, they're down like around 0.3%. CRM, ORCL. So yeah, let me know what stocks you guys are watching. There's not too much going on in the market right now. Doing a quick scan to see if there's any major plays this morning. Looks like the main thing is like TAL puts from the bots. Let's see. Yeah, they're down around 10% or so. Not looking the best. Let's say we go back to like the SPY. It's only up 0.3%. I really wouldn't be surprised if we go from green to red on this one. Jerry's saying, how does coin look to the downside? Coin, it is down around 1% right now. I mean, I like it, Jerry. You know, to the downside, they have that support at 220. Let's say I go to an hourly chart. I have a support right here at 220, and we are getting close to retesting that. If it does break below 220, the next support would be 210, and if it breaks below that, who knows how much this thing can fall. But I like the setup, and you know, I think that the fact that tech stocks have been selling off lately will definitely like help this one fall. And of course, like the way Bitcoin's been moving, it hasn't been good, and it'll definitely help coin move to the downside. So I like the setup. Jerry, have you seen any like leaps or anything with coin? Is there any reason like you were looking at this setup like specifically? And we have Hunter saying TCOM pretty red. Let's see. Yeah, this thing's getting demolished. Wow. Went from like 45 down to 30. Support at 30 bucks and then 28. I was also looking at EXPE. Hunter, I know we saw a lot of different leaps on this one. Like a lot of them calls, but the options activity has been pretty weird on this one. Like let's say we go out to the options chain, and let's say we go out to like the January. Yeah, I want to say the January 2023 chain. Yeah, I think it was this one right here. You look at the 180 calls, and you'd think that they'd be longing these, but I don't know. It's just been weird, you know. Like I can't tell if the smart money is buying this or shorting it. I would lean towards buying these calls because it's a 180 strike for January of 2023. But I don't know, Jerry. Let me know what you think. You know, it's the 180 calls, so they're only about $20 out of the money, and they have until January of 2023. So they have 553 days till expiration. What else do we have moving? Let's see. Vicky saying, for any day trading, would you get today's strike? My question on Fastly, please. For any day trading, would you get today's strike? So if you were day trading on Fridays, if you want to play it risky, you can get today's expiration. If we look at Fastly, like for example, let's just say, let's say you wanted to play it to the upside, right? Random example. If you wanted to play it risky, you can get today's expiration. But to be honest, I wouldn't. One, there's not really any volume. The volume today for like here's the thing. I think Vicky, I'm very happy you asked this question. So let's say you wanted to play Fastly to the upside. Let me just move this to make it more simple. If you go to the 50 strike calls, these options are out of the money. Right now, Fastly is at $49.63. You don't want to be playing these 50 calls because they have no real value. This $45 call option or $48 call option, however much it's worth, that is all extrinsic value. This thing is going to time decay. The theta of this will be crazy throughout the day. So you don't want to buy that. However, if you really wanted to play a daily expiration, you would want to go in the money for sure. And when you go in the money, the problem is that there was only 15 volumes, so you can't do that either because there's like no liquidity, and you'll lose a lot just on the bid and ask spread. even if you go out to next week's expiration, Vicky, you really can't do any day trades with it because there's no volume. So if you really, really, really wanted to play Fastly, it would have to be either through long or short shares, because you don't want to be day trading options when there's no liquidity. Because let's say you wanted to buy Fastly to the upside right now, and you go to next week's expiration. If you want to buy the 50 strike calls, the bid is at 134 and the ask is at 173. So if you really wanted to buy, you might have to pay $170 to get this. And let's say even Fastly moves up, when you want to sell, you might have to, a buyer might not be until like $150. So like you can literally predict the direction correctly, but still lose just because there's no other buyers or sellers in the market at that time. So liquidity is a huge thing. If we go over to the SPY, this thing's pretty golden for like day trades, especially because it's so liquid. Like if we go to today's expiration, there's already, I mean, some of these expirations have 67,000 contracts traded today, and the market's only been open for 38 minutes. So you can see the bid and ask spread is very small. You know, the bid is, you know, at 127, ask at 128. So it's very tight spreads, which is exactly what you want. Let's see. Sim's saying, wonder if Airbnb has any similar leaps to EXPE. I was looking at them. I couldn't find anything too major. Let's say I go to like the open interest right here, January of 2023. I mean, there was some decent volume, nothing crazy though. It's like the 150 strike and the 100. Let me take a look. Yeah, I mean, nothing major, honestly. Let's say I go to 150. I mean, there's been a slow and steady increase of open interest, but that doesn't mean it's like any big money. So, I mean, I haven't seen anything too major, Jerry. Let's say I go to like a different expiration. Maybe there'll be something. Let's see. Yeah, say we go to like the 150s. I mean, there was some decent volume yesterday. I don't know if you could see this, Jerry. There was like a good amount of volume. Yeah, yesterday there was like 400 contracts traded, but I don't know if they're longing these. Is that the 150 calls? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's making higher lows, which is good, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with it. I mean, short puts are pretty good for this one, Jerry. Like if you go to, you know, if you could short like the 120, let's say you short like the 130 put for July 20, say for like July 30th, the one, what did I say? The one, yeah, let's say you did the 130 put, you'll get paid close to $200, which isn't bad at all. And then we have Hunter saying, snagging some coffee, Mike. What's your coffee order? I don't really drink it too much, surprisingly. Like, I know it's pretty popular, but I'm not really a huge fan of it. Let's see. But Redfin's up a little bit, making higher lows, which is good. Enphase slightly in the green. What kind of sucks is like when the market opened, there was a lot more stocks that were green. But if we look at my watch list over here to the left, basically everything's in the red. Upwork's going in the, or they've been in the red. Penn's in the red. Nvidia's deep in the red. Boeing red. Zoom red. Everything's red. Disney's red, down around 1%. Target's red, which is good. So yeah. Trading Desk goes, I thought coffee was an SEC requirement for trading. That kind of in certain ways, it kind of reminds me from the scene of Wolf of Wall Street with, what was his name? Matthew McConaughey and Jordan Belfort when they were having that dinner. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but that movie's so funny. So yeah, I mean, it kind of sucks to see Disney in the red, but they're doing very well over the course of the past week or so. Amazing bounce off 170, and I think a lot of buyers are going to start stepping into this one soon, and we have a ton of time on these options. I know it couldn't break above resistance today, but you know it is what it is. It's a more of like a medium to longer term play. Corbin goes, SPY is red, Apple is still up. Apple's a powerhouse, you know. I mean, a lot of other stocks are struggling, but I feel like this movement with Apple is not gonna last long. You know, QQQ. We have Slick saying, keep falling QQQ. It looks good, Slick. Looks good for you. It's pulling back a good amount now. Support at 359. Let's see. What else do we have moving? Neo's falling. Let's see. Yeah, Neo has support like 42.50. Let's see. UPST. UPST is down around 2%, but it is holding its ground a little bit from yesterday. Give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining. I know Tom isn't with us today, but the market. Oh, wow. Target's falling off. Look at this. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Look at Target is tanking down. This looks pretty good. Intraday, pretty solid red candle. Support right at 252. Next support, 251. This one looks pretty good. Yeah, Target's looking pretty good right now. Huge sellers coming in. Not seeing any major news. This is good. This is good. Yeah, I like this setup. Okay. Yeah, Target's looking good. I like this. Lots of sellers coming in. You can see it's just been like lingering around so far at open, and clearly a lot of volume came in at a pretty quick pace. And yeah, I mean, this is a big seller. I'm very curious if this is like an institution taking profits or if it's like shorts coming in. Let's see. Let me I'm gonna figure out the short interest on Target real quick. So the short float's only like 1.7%, which I mean, it's not like we would see a Target short squeeze or anything like that, but yeah, I like this setup. I love that movement, and I think it was just a matter of time. This is a pretty big move, though. You don't really see moves like this too often on Target over the course of 5 minutes. Should be solid. Then Hunter's also saying the market is red now. Yeah, look at that. SPY went from green to red. Disney went from green to red. A lot of stocks went from green to red. Not all of them that we want to see, but I'm glad Target went from green to red. So yeah, the thing is with Target is we're probably not just going to see it crash and burn. It'll most likely be a slow and steady sell-off. I mean, of course, I'll take a quick one too, but just normally the way these types of value stocks move is normally like it's just slow movement. The IV is only like 31%, so that's why we purposely grabbed put debit spreads rather than naked puts, just to help fight that time decay a little more. Corbin saying GLD tank 2, everything is red. Monday will be green or red? Question mark. Well, that's the $1 million question, Corbin. And really, there's just so many variables. You know, like even if you have like the best, let's say, machine learning model or whatever, there's so many variables, especially over the weekend that could happen that will influence prices where, you know, there's only so much you can predict. And I think more of it's about reacting to the market rather than like trying to predict every single little move. But yeah, I think it's good to have some hedges right now for sure. Especially the way like some of these stocks are overextended, like Apple and Nvidia and all the other ones. I'm very curious to see how some of these puts worked out for Nvidia. Like, let's say we go to like the August expiration. So we go to like the 8, say we go to like 775. So like the 775 puts for Nvidia over the past couple days, I mean, they didn't even double, which I would have just expected a little bit more of a pop up. Slick goes, if you don't have it to lose, don't bet over the weekend. Never over leverage. True that, never over leverage. And it's good to have like a portfolio that isn't necessarily all centered around one thing. So, like, for example, over the past month, we've had tech just explode. Like, you never want to be too exposed to just like one specific like type of part. I guess you could say one specific part of the market. For example, like you don't want to just be buying like calls on Apple, Nvidia, Amazon, Microsoft, and then SPY because they kind of move together. And if it goes against you, you're screwed really bad. But like if you have like plays that aren't necessarily correlated, like UPST, GE, Disney, Palantir, things like that. It should just be like better, and it kind of hedges itself. You could say Target too. So that's just another thing to keep in mind. You never want to be too centered on just one specific play. Slick goes, I believe Monday will be red. And don't trade Starbucks. LOL. Mike knows the joke. Yeah. What else do we have? I mean, there's so many variables. It's hard to like give like an accurate prediction about what's going to happen Monday. But with the way stocks have been selling off, I definitely wouldn't be surprised. What else do we have? Zoom is unchanged. I love this company for the long term, but for the short term, I'm just going to try and sell some puts on them. You know what? I actually might, let me take a look at something. Because I was looking at different premiums. Like, if it can fall down to, let's say it falls down to, let's say it tests like 345. And if the IV rises, I can probably sell like the 330 puts for maybe like August 27th. And maybe get like $1,000. That would be awesome. Yeah, I might do that. It's definitely on my radar. I'd like for Zoom to fall a little bit more. Let's see. How's Netflix? Oh, wow. They're tanking off. Wow. They have earnings pretty soon, though. Looks like Target's recovering back up a little bit. Let's see. What else do we have moving? SPY. SPY is bouncing right at that 434 support. If it breaks below that, next support's at like 433, you can say, which was close to the low of yesterday. All right, Jerry goes, love Netflix for the long term. Yeah, I think that gaming catalyst should be awesome for them. They were popping up yesterday and after, 2 days ago in after hours on how they're going to add like gaming to their platform, and they hired some pretty well-respected people in that industry. And just imagine if like they come out with like a really good game, and like let's say it goes viral, like people have to sign up for Netflix, and they'd probably be more inclined to stay to just have Netflix in general because you have the games and then all the shows and everything. And Netflix has been doing pretty well over the past couple years, and I like them. Definitely like them for the long term, and I'm very curious to see what they deliver on this like gaming portion of their program. Let's see what we have moving. Looks like Neo's still falling. Facebook's falling. What else? Disney's falling, unfortunately. Upwork's still going. Penn? How's Penn? Penn. This one's alright. Banks are mixed. Let's see. JP Morgan. Yeah, they are. Yeah, JP Morgan's down around 0.8%. Bank of America, 0.6%. Goldman, around 1%. MS. Oh, MS is in the green. Yep. What else? Say we go to Market Watch. Looks like the biggest loser in the NASDAQ is down around 2%. Netflix down 1.5%. Baidu 2.33%. What else? CHTR is in the green. Yeah, just definitely more red than green today. CRM's in the green a little bit. Yeah, Zoom's definitely it looks like to be breaking that low, which is good because I'd love to sell puts on it. Target selling off a little bit. UPST selling off a little bit. Very interesting. How does TBHES? I don't know. Let's see. TBHES. Can't find that ticker. Microsoft up around 0.5%, but it's definitely struggling. Not bad. So yeah, guys, let me know what stocks you guys are watching. I'll definitely take a look at them. There's not too much going on this morning. Okay, let's see. So I'm just going to leave this chart of the SPY right here for a minute. Yeah, they're just breaking below that support right now. Let's see. So I'm just looking, let me look at Target a little bit more because it's definitely selling off. Hopefully we start to see a turnaround to the downside soon. Okay. Let's see. All right. Yeah, so Target has that main support right at 252. Slick saying, sold out of my QQQ for an 89% profit. There we go, Slick. Bravo goes, morning. We are selling, buying the VIX. There we go, Bravo. Yeah, definitely some selling going on. Vicky goes, how does the SPY setup look like for day trading? Let's take a look. Looks good to the downside, for sure. Next support's at 433. Corbin saying Apple went red for the day. Yeah, yep. CVX selling big. Yeah, lots of selling pressure coming in this morning. Looking a little brutal. Dennis saying snow is falling. Yeah, snow has been taking a beating over the past week. They had an amazing day. What was that? On July 9th, Friday. Umar saying, hey Mike, why do you think market is selling off and how long do you think it will be before it recovers? It was a matter of time. I made 2 videos last, let me do this. I made 2 videos last weekend basically saying the same thing on basically in simple terms, this is like a quick summary. Last year when Apple and Tesla announced their stock splits, Apple and Tesla literally exploded. We can see right here, they exploded to the upside. And tech stocks did too. However, once they split, they sold off so hard. We saw that basically happen to the exact same way with Netflix, right? On top of that, certain like tech stocks are so overbought, like Nvidia, Apple, Amazon. Like you can't just have a move from 125 up to 150 in like, you know, a month and a half, like on a huge stock like Apple and not pull back like this. On top of that, the $4.5 billion SPX call option trade, they started exiting their position. So it was really just a matter of time. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some selling for a couple weeks. The last time this happened, it sold off for a couple weeks. And I really wouldn't be surprised if it's a very similar setup. Like if we go to, let's say, Apple, you know, the last time it happened, it sold off from, you could say, like September 1st down to basically all of September. So it could definitely be a couple weeks. Yeah, not looking good. Not looking good. Disney selling off a little bit. GE holding its ground. Target is breaking the lows. Here we go. Target's finally breaking down. About time. Here we go, Target. This should be fun. I like it. Here we go. Okay, Bravo said, yes, sir, you said it. Market bubble about to pop, baby. Bubblegum. Kramer popping it too because he went hard on oil yesterday. Oh, there we go. Bravo goes, do you think VXX, UVXY a good move? I do. I also like stocks like Target to the downside that are just pretty overbought. But yeah, I like it. Definitely Bravo. VXX. Just make sure to get some time with them. What's good, what's really good, is it didn't really move yet. So you could get some of these premiums for a really good price. Then we have Corbin saying, what do you think about Disney? They've been struggling. I love them, and when I got in the trade, I specifically said that this is going to be a medium to long-term hold. Of course, everyone loves to see it break out in the short term, and it sucks to see it down around 1.5% today. But like realistically, this thing can fall to 170, and I would love it the same amount. This is a medium to a long-term trade for me. And the options we have a lot of time, and I love the setup. So I'm very bullish on them. They have some good news. They're a solid company, and I'm excited to see how they do over the next couple months. Raphael goes, AMC hanging in there. Let's take a look. Yeah, AMC is hanging in there, up around, you can say like 4%, bouncing off that support at like 37, which is good. Johnny goes, puts on NVIDIA and Amazon. Well, I mean, ideally it would have been better to get in when NVIDIA was closer to 800, but, I mean, if you're gonna, I would definitely do a put debit spread. You don't want to be buying naked puts now. Amazon, let's take a look at Amazon. Yeah, I mean, kind of the same setup. I mean, these ones already moved a decent amount. Like, one to look at is maybe Apple. Apple hasn't moved down as much. So yeah, take a look at Apple. The options you'll be able to get you'll be able to get better quality options for cheaper, anyways, with Apple. Let's see. UPST, how's this one doing? It's been struggling a little bit. It had a decent day yesterday, but it's been all right. SOFI. Let's see. Yeah, Target, I love this selling pressure. We have Sun saying Tesla and Apple on split day popped like 9%. Nvidia might pop up on Monday, but after that it should sink down. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. I've been drawing a lot of similarities between the Apple, Tesla, and Nvidia splits. One other thing to notice is with Apple and Nvidia, they didn't run up, like they ran up in like slightly different ways. So like for example, they were just straight uptrend into the split with Apple and Tesla, but where with Nvidia, it's been uptrending for quite some time, and it actually started to pull back before the split. So yeah, good observation though. Let's see. How's Target? Pulling back, I'm pulling up a little bit. Do you think the bubble is about to pop? I mean, in what sense? Like, I think we're definitely about to see a pullback. Like with a lot of these major tech stocks, Apple, Nvidia, Amazon, companies like that. I think we're definitely about to see that, and really, the smart money is just going to look at it and realize that it's not worth the risk to hold those stocks. Like obviously they're great companies and they will hold a lot of them, but not to the smart money is not going to continue to buy into companies like Nvidia when it just went from 450 up to 835. They're going to probably transition into other stocks that could give them a greater return on risk, like some of the cruise lines, airlines. You could say Penn, Boeing, some of the value plays like PG, Disney. I think we're definitely going to start to see a transition. Redfin doing decent. Yeah, I mean, I'm really watching Target. I really don't want to get like too excited though because, like I said, this is definitely a slow mover. It's down around 0.4%, but I doubt we're going to see like massive 5% down days with this one. I'll definitely take it, but it's just that's normally not how it moves. So, probably just like a slow and steady downtrend for it. Bravo goes, guys, value stocks sold big time. NCLH, RCL. Yeah, I mean, they're at some pretty good levels right now. I'm really tempted to get in some of these plays. Yeah, like the new variant Bravo, he said it's all because of the COVID fear. Yeah, I mean, it could definitely be hurting it. For sure. All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining today's stream. Just a quick little recap. Really watching Target to the downside right now, and just some of these tech stocks selling off. Definitely pins it on my radar to the downside. But thank you guys so much for joining. Tom should be with us again early next week. But yeah, really, thank you guys so much for joining. I really appreciate it, and have an amazing rest of the day and weekend.